1,600 people were surveyed which color they like the most, red, blue or green. 50% of all respondents said they like blue, 25% of that number said they like green, while 860 respondents like red. 50 respondents like both blue and green, 60 like both green and red, while 160 respondents like both red and blue. What percentage of respondents like all three colors? As always guys, I will pause the video for a couple of seconds so that you can try this one for yourself and then we will continue. Good luck! Well, I hope you guys were successful with this one. If not, let's get to the bottom of this. First thing that we need to do is to get rid of the percentages and see how many people actually like color red, blue and green. In the text we can see that 50% of all respondents said they like color blue. So we can say that 50% of 1,600 is the number of people that like color blue. So that is of course 1,600 times 0.5, and that means that 800 people like color blue. Now we can see that for the color green, 25% of the number of people that like blue like green. So that means that we need to find 25% of 800, and that is 800 times 0.25, and that is 200. So 200 people like color green. The color red is the easiest one because we can already see that 860 respondents like color red. Now we will make a small table in which we will enter all the values that we know. So we know that 800 people like color blue, that 200 people like color green, and that 860 people like color red. In the text we can see that 50 respondents like both blue and green, that 60 respondents like green and red, and that 160 respondents like both red and blue. Of course, we don't know the number of respondents that like all three colors, so we can say that red, green and blue is liked by X number of respondents. Now we will solve our problem by using the Venn's diagram. So first we will draw a blue circle for the number of people in a survey that like color blue, green for those that like color green, and of course the red for those that like color red. The intersection between these three circles will represent the number of people that like all three colors. In our case, that is the value of X. Now let's take a look at the intersection between red and a blue circle. In our table we can see that the overall value of this intersection is 160. That means that the empty part of this intersection must have a value of 160 minus X, because we already have a value of X in our intersection of blue and red. In our survey, 160 minus X represents a number of respondents that like both red and blue but not the color green. We can apply the same logic and look at the intersection between red and green. We can see in our table that the value of the intersection between red and green circle is 60, so that means that the rest of the area must be 60 minus X. Of course, this represents the number of people that like red and green color but not the color blue. We will now take a look at the intersection between blue and green and see that in our table the value is 50. So that means that the empty part of intersection must be 50 minus X, and that represents the value of respondents that like blue and green but not the color red. Now let's try to find the number of people that like only color blue and none other color, which is represented by this shaded area. We can do this by seeing the number of people that like color blue overall, and that is 800 in our table. So we need to subtract this number with the values that are already inside the blue circle, and that is 50 minus x, or number of people that also like a green color, plus x, the number of people that like all three color, and 160 minus x, the number of people that like both blue and red. And we will get that that is 800 minus 210 minus x inside the brackets. Since the minus is outside of the brackets, we can switch the signs for the values inside the brackets, and we get 800 minus 210 plus x, that is 590 plus x. That means that 590 plus x is the rest of the blue circle, and in our survey that represents the number of people that only like color blue and none other. Let's do the same thing for the red. Let's find out the number of people that only like color red. Of course, in our table we can see that 860 is a value for the red circle. We need to subtract this with all the values that are already inside the red circle. So that is 60 minus x for those who like both red and green, plus x for those who like all three colors, plus 160 minus x for those who like red and blue. And we get 860 minus 220 minus x inside the brackets. As before, we will just switch the signs of the values inside the brackets, so that is 860 minus 220 plus x, and we get 640 plus x. That is of course the value of the people in a survey that only like color red but not the color green and blue. Let's do exactly the same thing for green. Let's find this shaded area. In our table we can see that green has overall value of 200, so we need to subtract this value with all the values that are already in the green circle, and that is 60 minus x for those people who like both green and red, x for those who like all three colors, and 50 minus x for those who like green and blue. And we get 200 minus 110 minus x inside the brackets, and that is 200 minus 110 plus x, and that equals to 90 plus x. And of course, this is the number of people that only like color green and none other. Now, since our survey has 1,600 people in total, that means that 1,600 is an overall value of all three circles, so it must be equal to the sum of all values inside the circles. That means that it is equal to the number of people that like all three colors, that's x, plus the number of people that like only red and green, that's 60 minus x, plus 50 minus x for the number of people that like blue and green, plus 160 minus x for the number of people that like only blue and red, plus 590 plus x for people that like only blue and nothing else, plus 640 plus x for the number of people that like only red, and plus 90 plus x for the number of people that like only color green. Only thing that we need to do is to solve this equation. So first we will cancel all values of the minus x and plus x, and we will get 1,600 that equals to x plus 1,590. This means that x has a value of 10, and this is the number of people that like all three colors. Of course, we need to find out the percentage of people from survey that like all three colors. We can find this with the ratio between number of people that like all three colors and the number of overall people that participated in the survey, and multiplied by 100%. And that is 10 over 1600 times 100%, and we get 0.625%. So that means that 0.625% of people from our survey like all three colors, and of course this is our result. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a like, share or subscribe, and see you all next time. Take care.